we are a year later from that sweet potato harvest video. Hey everyone, Natissa here, and welcome to You Can Grow Too. This perennial sweet potato harvest video are from plants that I did not plant. How can this be? Sweet potatoes are considered perennial in the right conditions. I do live in the subtropics of Florida where we have a lot of heat, a lot of humidity, and sweet potatoes don't seem bothered by that at all. In fact, they seem to crave it. My soil, although I am building it up, it is sandier than most soils probably around the country, and with lower fertility. Lesser nutrition and all that seems to help sweet potato production. Less leaves, more roots, the part that you eat, although you can eat the leaves. And a lot of these conditions that sweet potatoes like are happening in my area, in my climate, more than 4 months a year. And that's about how long sweet potatoes need to grow. Of course, with plenty of sunshine to help build those tubers. And in how sweet potatoes grow. You can harvest your sweet potatoes like I did last year, and inevitably, most likely, you're gonna leave some tubers in the ground. Even the little itty bitty ones can turn into a whole new sweet potato plant. The vines will sprawl above ground, it'll go across the ground. If you're growing it in beds, it will spill over the beds. And along the nodes of those vines, they can root in the ground, produce new plants and new tubers, and just keep on growing and growing. Under the ground, sweet potatoes can produce runners. I don't know if that's exactly a root system where it can absorb nutrition. That I am not sure about. But I do know some plants, like sweet potatoes, grow runners underground. And the way that I look at them, it's like a vine system, but under the ground. And more plants can be grown from those. More plants meaning more sweet potato tubers. So sweet potatoes left in the ground, runners running underground, and the vines running across the top and just rooting along the nodes. Lots of opportunity for more sweet potatoes, the plant to keep on growing and be perennial. And that's what I had done this year. I did not plant any intentional sweet potato plants. Everything you see back there was just from what came up from last year's harvest, or what was left in the ground accidentally from that harvest. And I live, like I said, in the perfect place for sweet potatoes to be perennial. What a dream! Sounds perfect. That all makes it sound like that you are going to have a big harvest. But my predictions for this year's harvest, I'm actually predicting not a big tuber harvest at all. And here's why. Because despite all the good things about how a sweet potato grows, you gotta think of it this way. If you have that tuber in the ground and it is growing, it is producing those vines, which is great, but it's taking all that energy from that tuber and it is just producing leafy growth. It's not gonna produce any more tubers for you. And as it is sprawling, it is taking time to grow. It is taking time to root in the ground, and well, then it will produce sweet potatoes, but are you having enough time? In the past, last year, I had harvested sweet potatoes that I intentionally planted, and I will say this, I did get more sweet potato production from that, even though it was just from a handful of plants. But when you are taking that cutting that I like to stick in a glass of water and see the root systems form, when you are taking that and planting it in the ground, that plant is then going to focus on tuber growth, the part that you are harvesting to eat. And if it's spending all that time just using energy from an existing tuber, or all that time just sprawling across the ground and just so happens to root along the nodes and create new plants, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, you might get sweet potato production, but you know, it's how long did all that growing time take to where you could have been growing tubers from individual plants? So this year I didn't plant any, thinking I was going to get a huge harvest, but after thinking about all of my experiences, all my observations, I've already harvested everything, and let me show you the results. So here's the harvest from the 4-foot by 2-foot bed of my purple sweet potatoes, and my predictions were correct. In fact, too correct. This is smaller than I even thought we would even get. I thought we would get a couple more sweet potatoes. Remember, I left them in the ground and I just let grow from it, whatever would grow from it, and this is all I got. Well, I should say, from the good sweet potatoes. This sweet potato here, you can see, I don't know for sure if this is part of the runners I was talking about, because it's so hard when you are harvesting a sweet potato. You just don't know what's happening underground. It's hard to see it. But is this the runner and it was trying to grow sweet potatoes? Is this the root system? I just don't know, but that is still very tiny. I mean, this one, it's a decent size. It feels firm. This may be a good one to eat. Same with this one. And these ones are babies. I'm pretty sure these ones can still be eaten. What you can do, and I've seen others do, is maybe take little tubers or even take the large ones, and you can plant them in the ground, but intentionally to grow the slips, to grow the vines, and then take those as cuttings, and then, like I said, put them in a glass of water. That's what I like to do, and then make your sweet potato plants from that. That is an option. Over here, these 4 are very questionable. It's hard to, I did feel these without my glove, but they just don't feel a slight sponginess to them. The color is very more tan, not a purple color. And they just don't feel firm, and they almost have like a corky, like if you touched a cork, that lightness to them a little bit. So chances are, I'm thinking these are not good, but I'll still try them. But this one, he looks great, but really, he is rotting here, very squishy like. This one too feels rather spongy, not firm, and the color again is very like a tan look. I think you can tell through the comparison, and sometimes that can be an indicator, unless it is, of course, a variety thing, because like I said, this is a purple sweet potato variety. So yeah, this tuber was probably left in the ground accidentally and grew more sweet potato plants, and well, the runners and the vines, and then of course, like I said before, it's taking all the energy from that sweet potato in order to grow those vines, and it's not producing any tubers. So yeah, this is very, very questionable bunch. But anyhow, yeah, so this is the harvest. This was my results, and I was correct in my predictions. Like I said, too correct. I thought I was going to get a little more than this at least. But yeah, this is what happens when I grew my sweet potatoes as a perennial. Hopefully this video shows you how easy sweet potatoes are to grow, but between other people's experiences and mine, I hope it helps you decide what you will do with your sweet potatoes too. Are you going to leave them in ground? Are you going to plant individual plants? Your harvest might depend on it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully next year to see what the sweet potato harvest will do.